Well, Disney's back for yet another swing at a Star Wars show, that of course being Ahsoka. And a lot of people have been asking the question, is Ahsoka going to save Star Wars? Is Dave Filoni going to save Star Wars? The answer to that, based on this first episode, is an obvious no. That's obviously not going to happen. We have a show that's not as dumb as The Mandalorian, but still has issues to the point where even just looking at the first episode, I can already see that this is a show that is gonna fall apart completely. You know, there's not as many issues that, you know, it's got its issues, but there's not as many, you know, you would expect. And I just think based on the issues that are there, I'm like, yeah, this is obviously gonna fall apart. It's gonna be a show that seems to me is gonna get worse and worse. You know, this, based on this episode, it's not something I would call utter dog shit. It's just more, well, that was crap, wasn't it? That's kind of my, you know, my baseline reaction on this first episode. I have not seen the second one yet. I'm going to watch that after we've done this, but we're here for Ahsoka, which, based on what we've had of her so far, not counting the animated series, because I ain't seen them, and that means Dave Filoni needs to do a good job at catching me up in a natural way, and not just throwing a load of information at me and thinking that'll do. But that's what we get. That's what we get in that sense of things. So we're basically going to be sticking with Ahsoka since Rosario Dawson has been playing her, and based on what we've had of her so far, very boring character. Very boring. I hope that's not what the character is in Rebels, because if that is the case, I don't get what people like about her. It's just a very, very bland person. You know, I imagine a lot of that is to blame on the performance, or at least the way Rosario Dawson has been told to act. So that's really all we've got on Ahsoka. So there's not really much to her. There's not much to her at all. But I suppose we'll find out more about her if we just dive in to episode 1 of Ahsoka, and we begin with a title crawl. It looks like someone just thought, fuck it, do that on PowerPoint, would you? That's just what that looks like to me. So they say, the evil galactic empire has fallen, and a new republic has risen to take its place. Already reading this, I'm like, really, you should just reserve title crawls for the films. I think the TV shows, yeah, you can skip that shit. However, sinister agents are already at work to undermine the fragile peace. A plot is underway to find the lost Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn and bring him out of exile. Once presumed dead, let's see what else it says. Rumours are spreading of Thrawn's return, which would galvanise the Imperial remnants and start another war. So how did they find out it's all just based on rumour. So they're now going, oh no, he must be alive. Yeah, but you thought he was dead, he's lost. You know, if you're lost in the sense that I guess Thrawn is, you know, you might as well be dead at that point. So that's what's going on in this guy, this blue Elon Musk guy is back. He's back. There's rumours of his backness. He's back. He's back to take over the galaxy. Former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano captured one of Thrawn's allies and learned of a secret map which is vital to the enemy's plan. So it's a secret map that has the location of Thrawn. I don't know why. I don't know why this, you know, we're about to get into it. There's just this ball that is like a map. It has the location of Thrawn in some basement. Why? I don't really know why. Who's put that there? Who's went, oh, I know, let's leave the location of Thrawn down here for some reason. Let's give the location of this. Why? I don't know. I don't know why it works that way. It seems like we're doing a similar thing to the sequel trilogy in that sense that, oh, there's this thing that has the location of a person on it for some reason. Someone put it there for some reason. So that's what the secret map is. It leads to where Thrawn is. Ahsoka now searches for the map as her prisoner, Morgan Elsbeth, is transported to the New Republic for trial. So that's our opening crawl. So we see the New Republic. They're out on their old spaceship. You got the captain here. They report, oh, there's a spaceship coming in, and it has the code of an old Jedi code. So it's Jedis that are on this. The only thing is, this guy, our commander, our captain, he knows. He's like, yeah, these guys, I don't believe this shit. So what he does is he lets them on, even though he's already figured, yeah, they're evil. I don't know how he's done that, but that's already the conclusion he's come to, that, oh yeah, these guys are clearly evil. So he invites them on. Fucking idiot. So he eventually goes down to meet them. He's like, oh, we ain't seen Jedi in a while. And then what does he go on to say? Yeah, he says, you put on a good show. I don't buy it. You're no Jedi. Why did you let them on? Because, of course, these guys that have just come aboard are going to kill everybody. And this guy had a hunch, oh, yeah, these are evil. Says to them, oh, yeah, you're not Jedi, you're evil. And then they turn out to be evil, so they kill everybody. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Oh, let's just even though I've got my suspicions, I'm going to let them on board anyway, to tell them that I know that they're evil. I don't know what the plan was there. I really don't. And that's probably one of the dumbest things to happen in this episode. We've got a few more. But that's one of the big ones. So it turns out it's Ray Stevenson, and he's the only interesting thing about this show so far. He actually, he's got the right voice, the right look. He looks very formidable. But let me guess, at some point, maybe by episode 3, he's probably going to be really incompetent. That would be my assumption. So is there much point in getting attached? I don't know. But as far as Ray Stevenson goes, his performance is actually interesting. He's actually, there's something intriguing about him. Whereas our main character, our titular character, is not. There's nothing interesting about her. I'm just, she just comes across to me, oh, you're just some character they made up that Anakin had some Padawan. And that, that's all the character is, really. You were never mentioned in the prequels. So I do question whether you actually existed. But we'll talk more about that. So he comes aboard, wipes them all out, because this guy, knowing that they were evil, let them onto the ship to kill them all. Good idea. Good plan. But there was no plan. So Ray Stevenson comes in, beats the shit out of everybody. This is the Elizabeth Swann character. And she's like, I don't know, she's some type of witch, whatever. This is Ahsoka's prisoner that's being transported to a trial for the New Republic. So he takes her out and she tells him, I was taken by a Jedi. She's found out about the secret map. So she's going to get it. And that's how we begin the episode. And then one thing, again, you always just get flashbacks to The Mandalorian where we waste a lot of screen time. There's a lot of we're just going to have a look at this visual for 10 minutes first before anything actually happens. We must watch Ahsoka walk for 10 minutes because that's what the people want to see. And the weird thing with this show is you get a lot of characters just stare at each other and don't say anything for like a long period of time. This episode is almost an hour long. It doesn't need to be, but that's how long it is, because we constantly, and I'm not even kidding, it's constantly characters just staring at each other like that with no expression. Ahsoka Tano, she opens her eyes and closes her eyes very slowly. She does a lot of that. Is that supposed to be acting? I can blink. I don't know. But that a lot of that happens. Like, just, like, they talk slow. Ahsoka's like, that. It takes me 10 minutes to open and close my eyelids. So just a lot of long stares, just for no reason. So she comes to this little thing. She throws her lightsabers in the ground and opens a hole. And basically what this scene is, I did write it down here somewhere. This is a live-action video game puzzle. This is like watching... It's just like watching someone do a puzzle in Uncharted or something. That's what she's doing. There's some puzzle going on. Doesn't say a word for ages. Again, there is a lot of stuff you could cut here because we don't need it. You could just go, right, there's a puzzle, she solves the puzzle. But it goes on for about 5 minutes. It's just like, you could cut here to here. You could cut all this. But again, it's like, I don't know why do you need to make it hit an hour mark? Or like try and get near, you don't have to do that. You know, you should be talented enough to be able to do that. And fill it with meaningful things. Rather than just, oh, it's the puzzle room. She's made it to the puzzle room level. So she does that, and it's this little orb thing that it's a map. It's a star map, they call it. And that has the location of Thrawn on it. I don't know, you know, if you go back, this little item is down. So what someone done was that they put this map down here with the location of Thrawn, cemented over it in a little chamber. They went to all this trouble. I don't understand why, you know, they don't really say who put it there. I don't know who put it there. I'm really hoping it's not someone that is on Thrawn's side, because that would be incredibly stupid. So she's got a little orb thingy. I'm not even kidding. This goes on for 5 minutes. It's like, we don't need all that. You just don't need it. Cut it, Dave. Cut it. So she gets out of there. Yeah, it's this little orb thing, whatever. She jumps up and, oh, what do you know? There's some robots here. There's a few robots. This guy says, give it to us. And she says, don't come closer. In just like a really bad acting way. Just the delivery of the lines is just like really half-assed. Just like, don't come closer. It's like, can you give a bit more emphasis on that? So it turns out there's all these robots here, so she fights them all. Fights them all. You know, it's just one of those scenes where you're like, you know, I guarantee that Dave Filoni is whacking off to this. You know, a lot of that comes through when it's his characters. You know, just all the poses and everything. It's like, why are you posing? You're in the middle of a fight. But she does a lot of those lands and looks. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just fight. She's, of course, you know, she gets out of that. These robots self-destruct. I mean, the explosion, I'm like, fucking hell, that's a lot, isn't it? So she makes it to her ship with this droid, this merch. We get a lot of that in this episode as well. They're always trying to go for that market. Listen, we introduce this robot, make a toy, try and sell it to people. We do get a cat, dog, duck at some point. They're like all crossed between a cat and a dog and a duck. But we'll look at that when we come to it. So she says to this other droid, what does she say? She says, you know, where were you? Why weren't you closer by? Next time, stay closer by. Well, I mean, it's a good thing that he went far away, because otherwise those robots would have taken control of the ship. So that's very stupid advice. Make sure you stay close, so when the enemies attack, they have the opportunity to destroy my ship or take it away from me. So make sure you stay near them. You know, make sure you always leave your car unlocked in the bad part of town. Always do that. That's some life advice there. Always do that. So she does a lot of you know, slow eyelids closing. And then she's been called by the Home One or something the ship's called for the New Republic. She's going to meet her other Twi'lek fucking friend. Her name's... I'm going to struggle with names with this show. I can already tell. No, I don't think I wrote that one down. So they're seemingly old friends. They're looking at this footage of Ray Stevenson not taking down that ship, killing everybody because the captain in charge knew they were evil, let them come on anyway, because that makes sense. So they're having this conversation about, well, yeah, she's like, you know, who are they? Who, like the other Twi'lek person is saying, who are they? She says, I don't know. So then the other person says, what's their connection to Morga Esper? It's like, well, she said she don't know who they are. So it's a bit, that question is a bit redundant. And she just says, you know, this person has hired mercenaries before. I mean, you know, they're obviously with the Force, so, you know, I wouldn't really call them mercenaries. And then she gives her this little map and says about this has the location of Thrawn, and apparently this guy called Ezra Miller. So that's who it's going to find. These are two guys that I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on that they don't really explain. Again, we spoke about this before. You can't just pretend like everybody's watched Clone Wars or Rebels. It doesn't work that way. So you have to act as if, you know, it's our first time hearing about any of this. But it's just a lot of stuff like, you know, I don't know what that means. What happened to this Ezra Miller guy? Did he eventually get arrested? You know, I don't know. But it's this Ezra guy that also, I don't know, he's some Jedi. You know, I've heard about him before, but, you know, I ain't really got much interest in it. I've heard about him before, and he killed Thrawn. Even though Thrawn is back, and they think that this Ezra is dead, so is he dead, or is he not? You know, who knows? So, yeah, that's essentially what happens here. So, yeah, she's just like, well, if Thrawn survived, does that mean Ezra survived? And Ahsoka's like, yeah, maybe. It could be the case. So they're like, right, well, show us what's in this map. They're like, oh, we can't because it's locked. The droid says, I can't figure out a way to get into it. So, yeah, you know, part of me was like, we're not going on a fucking side... Because he said the word key. I'm like, we are not going on a side quest here. I really hope not. But they just need to figure out how to get into this little ball that will then point exactly to where Thrawn is. Because he's just stayed in the same location for however many years. Just been there the entire time. So, yeah, they can't get into that at the moment. She gets called away. You know, most of the soundtrack in this episode I like, but there's parts of it where it just sounds like circus music. It's just like a really weird choice. So they're on this planet that's called, I'll remember it later, and this guy's given a speech about you know, Ezra. This Ezra guy sacrificed for us to survive and stuff like that. He then goes to introduce this Sabine person. That's I don't know, some woman. Some woman that's apparently was an apprentice to Ahsoka. And she but, you know, we'll talk more about her later. There's a lot to talk about with her. Especially nearer the end. So they go, where's Sabine? Like, she isn't here. So it turns out Sabine is driving along this big motorway. I just fail to understand why you have a motorway when your bike hovers. I don't know what you need a road for at that point. Especially, this is just taking the piss. What do you need that for? You can't just fly over there. You got all your cars and bikes fly. And you're like, yeah, I tell you what we need. We just need this one random motorway in the middle of nowhere. That seems like a waste of money. I mean, you could just put down a bit of gravel. That would be fine, wouldn't it? You don't need a road that leads to some old watchtower. You don't need that, but that's what they have. So, right, let me just... I've got to turn the page, and I've got a big notebook this time, so I've got to... All right, there we go. So, yeah, we've mentioned the highway. So, yeah, these people have been sent to, the guy sent, the governor of this planet, sent his guys off, go and find Sabine, will you bring her back for the ceremony. This is of course the anniversary that they can't remember because they just said, we defeated the Empire several years ago. They don't really. It's like their anniversary, their ceremony. They don't remember the year. So that's what they want to bring her back for. She's like, "Get lost, guys," because that's how she talks apparently. She just says, "Get lost." She gets to. So this is like the place that she's going to. It's this watchtower thingy majig. We get into some more merch. It's this dog. It's got a cat's tail. It looks like a dog, more like a dog than a cat. It's got duck legs, okay. They sell that as a cuddly toy, I guess. That's what that's there for. So, what do you know? We see a Mandalorian helmet. So apparently she's a Mandalorian. God help us all. I hope the Mandalorians don't show up. Because they will just ruin everything. So she comes back, I assume, well, she's upset about this Ezra guy. And again, it's like they're trying to catch you up to speed on who these people are, but they just do it in a very clunky and lazy way. So this is apparently Ezra. This is the Ezra guy. She plays this recording, and we'll go through what it says because it's just really clunky. It says, so you have Ezra saying, "As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make decisions no one else can. So that's what I did to defeat Thrawn. We've been through a lot, grew up together in this rebellion. We're not really family, but you're like a sister to me. Your fight isn't over and now I can't help you." So we have to have this guy that knows who this person is. This is obviously a recording. I'm just confused on why you would say, "Oh, by the way, we grew up together." Well, yeah, we grew up together in this rebellion. It's like, yeah, we both know that. I don't know why you're saying that, but they're trying to bring stuff in so it catches you up to speed, but it's done. Don't do it that way. Don't just have a character say, "We grew up in the rebellion together." Oh, yeah, I know you both know that though. So we get a lot of that throughout this episode. A lot of exposition dumps that are just, again, there's not really any thought put into it. It's just like, here you go, here's a load of information. This is what you need to know. There you go. Rather than weaving it into the story in a very natural way, it's just like, "Oh, by the way, guys," Dave Filoni comes out on screen. He says, "By the way, guys, these two, they grew up in the rebellion together. They're not family, but it's like a sister. She's like a sister to him." So that you might as well do that with how you've written this. So we get more of that eventually. Just really, really done it. It's like, no, people don't talk like that. People don't say to people, "We grew up in the rebellion." It's like, because we both know that. There's no reason to say it. Unless for the benefit of the audience. But, come on, Dave. Try and do it in a natural way at least. At least try. Come on. So she looks, I don't know, that recording finishes. We go to this. This is the Ray Stevenson's apprentice, I assume. She stares on into nothingness for no reason. So that's when it really kicks in, the staring. Just long periods of time just staring at fuck all. So she's staring about. She says to the witch, "What is this place?" The witch says, "Oh, it's an ancient temple that I don't know, the demonic whatever the fuck used to run." So they're on the planet where the map to Thrawn's location is, because he just stayed there the entire time. They fight. They realize, right, it's gone. So that means Ahsoka's got it. So Ray Stevenson sends his apprentice off to the planet we were just on, where Sabine is, to kill her. Like I assume. I don't think he actually says explicitly kill her. Which, I kind of have a question by the end of the episode. I guess it's to I guess they're under the assumption Ahsoka's going to go there or something like that. Where they just want it because Sabine used to be Ahsoka's apprentice that fell out of touch for a long time, seemingly. So I don't know why you think going after her, that's I don't really know the justification for it. There really isn't much justification for why she's going to go to Sabine. Like they want this little map back. She goes there for an unknown reason. So you don't know that you don't know that Ahsoka is going to turn up on that planet with the little map. You don't know that's going to happen. I don't know why you would assume it. Why for what reason would you assume that that's where Ahsoka's going to go? Or if it's you want to get Ahsoka's attention, I can't say. They don't make it clear, but that's where she's going. So Sabine is having nightmares. She gets up. She sees, oh, it's Ahsoka's ship. So they're going to stare at each other for long periods of time without actually saying anything. So she shows up, and the governor says, "You're gonna want to listen to what she has to say." So they just stare at each other. Not a word is being spoken for at least 5 minutes. It's just Ahsoka going, I don't know. Why are you doing that? I don't know. I really don't know. There's no stellar performances here. Maybe Ray Stevenson, but we haven't had much of him yet. But Ahsoka's whole thing is, I'm just going to stare at you. We're just going to look about each other. Yeah, do you not have anything to say? Nah, we'll stare a little longer. Okay. Just do a bit more staring. All right. We're ready to talk now. It's very awkward. Very awkward. I'm just like, why are you staring at each other for so long? I'm not kidding. This goes on for so long. And then she tells her about this map, and she's like, "Oh, I think I've found a way that we can find Ezra." Maybe don't tell people that. Especially when it's obvious that she's not getting over this Ezra guy's death. So then going, "Oh, by the way, found a way to find Ezra." It's like, well, you're getting her hopes up there, isn't you? You don't actually know that. Again, I've got no... I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know. So, you're like, oh, he's dead. But then you're like, oh, we can find him. How? He's dead. Again, there's just no context for it. So I haven't got a clue what's going on. Because like most people, I haven't seen Rebels. So you need to do a better job at that. So she comes in here, she does a bit of staring. I'm not even kidding, she does more staring. And then they talk to each other. She tells her like what this is. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, she just tells her about this thing. All right, let me just make sure. Yeah, that's fine. So, we find out about Sabine being her apprentice, which from what I've heard, in the Rebel show, that isn't the case. So, I've just seen people like wondering why the fuck that is the case, but, again, I don't care about fucking Rebels. So they sit down, it's very awkward conversation. She wants her help to unlock this ball before she's called in by the droid, and then Sabine is like, right, I'm gonna take this map thing off to where I can clear my head. I'm just gonna take this thing away. So Ahsoka's like, nah, you're not taking that away. So she runs off with it anyway. Ahsoka doesn't think to mention, oh, by the way, there might be some evil people coming after that, so you may not want to run away on your own, where you're most likely going to get attacked, as you do by the end of the episode. I don't know why Ahsoka doesn't mention that. Just say, nah, there might be people after it, so it's best we keep it here. But she doesn't think to mention that, even though this is someone you surely don't want them to die. So you maybe mention that. So Ahsoka's been called away. So this droid, what he's been doing, because of he's been scanning these lightsaber hilts, the hilts from Ray Stevenson and the other girl that looks like she wants to murder everybody. He's been scanning the lightsabers to find out whose lightsabers they are. And he then goes on to say, so this one here, I don't notice. This one here, though, I do realise what it was. Nothing like this has been made in the past 500 years except one student of mine, because this droid taught people how to make lightsabers. He worked at the Jedi Temple, and he would teach his students how to make their own lightsabers. So that's how he's figured out, oh, it's this guy, Baylan Skoll. Baylan Skoll, that's Ray Stevenson's character's name. So I'm like, right, so you know this guy, and you didn't think, maybe I'll just scan his face. You have a picture of his face. And you went, nah, no, what we got to do is we got to scan the hilt of his lightsaber, because people don't just steal those. You know, it's not a possibility that the person this used to belong to was killed by the person that now owns it. That's not a possibility. So we're gonna rely on the lightsabers rather than just scanning the guy's face. It's like you're a droid. You've clearly got that ability. So just scan his face, go, yeah, that's that guy that I taught once. Straight away, you figured it out straight away. You don't need this. No, I've got to scan the hilts. I've got to scan the lightsaber hilts. So that was just wasted energy. Waste of energy. So that's what we get out of there. He's just like, so that means you're up against a formidable opponent. So yeah, Ahsoka comes out and Sabine's ran off. She's gone. She's gone. That's what you should have said. By the way, people might kill you if you have that. So she's gone. She's driving up the highway that's there for some reason, even though the bikes float. Okay. And then, oh, like, what do you know? This little droid thing appears. It's been watching her. It flies back to the evil woman, and she just stares evilly. She just, you know, why was the droid there? Did it know that Sabine was going to be driving up that way? I don't know. I don't know how she knew that. Oh yeah, she'd be coming this way. She likes to go out on her bikes all the time. So how do you know that? You only heard about her 5 minutes ago. You know, again, another Star Wars show, and I'm questioning, how are you getting from this planet to this planet so fucking quickly? It's like you were just over there like 5 minutes ago. And it took you 5 minutes to get to another planet. Right, okay. So she goes back, she says to her cat, duck, frog, whatever, I've got to look for a key or something. She puts this map down, because at the place we were at the beginning of the episode, there's these 3 statues, and she figures out, oh, it's a pattern, and then she twists the ball to make that pattern. But she ain't there yet. She's about to get there, but first, we got to have more. Oh, by the way, this is what their relationship is. We're just going to tell you. We're not going to let you figure it out or anything like that. So you have this other Twi'lek, twink, whatever. Ahsoka's just like, why did I do this? Why did I think this would be easy? It's difficult. Sabine is difficult. And the other Twi'lek says, you knew what you were getting into. And you have Ahsoka saying, yeah, things didn't turn out the way both of us wanted. It never, yeah, that's what she says. Things didn't turn out the way either of us would have wanted. And then the other Twi'lek says, mentoring someone is a challenge. I bet your master found you difficult. He must have done. He killed a lot of children. Obviously talking about Anakin. And she looks don't mention that name, which I find strange, because in Boba Fett Mandalorian season 2.5, she spoke to Luke Skywalker about Anakin. It didn't really seem like a problem for bringing Anakin up. But here it's like, don't you mention that name of my past. I still don't, I still don't know exactly how this fucking shit works. Like, I don't really think any of this works. Like the idea that Anakin had a Padawan. It's like, we never seen it. We never seen it. You were never mentioned. So I'm just like, because I did do a bit of Google searching to try and figure this out. Like, why exactly would Anakin have a Padawan if he's essentially a Padawan himself? From what I understand, the way it works, which I still think is fucking stupid, the way it works, apparently, is that even though you're training, you can still have someone to train. It's like, yeah, that's all right if you're, a carpenter. Not if you're a fucking Jedi. Maybe get trained first and then get a Padawan. That's how I'd expect it to work. But yeah, again, it's essentially just a shoehorned in character. That's really all I'm getting out of Ahsoka so far. Just, she was actually there, but she was just never mentioned, and we never actually seen her. So that's talking about, Anakin and all that. They're just going, yeah, he went psycho, he killed all those kids and stuff, She goes on to say, Anakin never got to finish my training. I mean, probably not. He did do all that killing. Before the end of the Clone Wars, I walked away from him and the Jedi, just like I walked away from Sabine. Somehow doing the right thing leads to the wrong consequences. It's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? Consequences. You can do the right thing, but there's no accounting for the consequences. Okay. But so that's where we find out she was trained by Anakin. She never got to finish her training. She then walked away from Anakin and the Jedi and Sabine. Right, all up to speed. Just in a dump it on me way. So Sabine has figured out this ball. She's like, oh, that's it. It's that symbol there. And she opens it and it points directly to the, I assume, planet where Thrawn is. Because he's just been hanging about there the entire time. Yeah, he hasn't thought, maybe I'll go over here. He's just stayed there. He's remained exactly where this thing's, I don't know how long this thing has been about. This, like, the map with the location of Thrawn on it. I don't know how you get that information. I don't know how you have time to get that information, store it in a ball, put it in a chamber, cement over the top. I don't know how you have all the time to do that. But again, it's not, maybe they'll explain it, but so far they don't really fucking explain it. How this actually works. So she's realised whereabouts it is. She goes down, talks to her little cat dog. And then, oh no, it's the bad robots that shoots at her. And then what we have a woman punching a metal droid. Like, punching it in the face, elbow, and it's like, no, that's made out of metal. Your hand just broke. Your elbow's literally come out of its socket. I couldn't believe what I was watching when it's just, she's punching this metal, she's punching its helmet. So, we're almost going on to Mandalorian territory with that. We get a lot of that punching people in the helmet. What are you doing? Don't do that. So that's what she does. She literally, like, I'm not talking like she just pushes them away or anything. It's full-on punches. I'm like, yeah, that's made out of metal. Your hand is not recovering. But no, she's fine. She's just being held back. The droid doesn't think, maybe I'll push her away and then shoot her. He just holds on to her like this. And then wonders, oh, how did she get my fucking gun? Well, that's probably because you should have just shot her. So this other droid comes in, grabs the little thing. Sabine gets away, goes to chase it down. This is when Ahsoka gets the news of what's going on down there. So she's on her way. And then our bad guy, our evil whammon, she's just standing there waiting. It's just leave. Why would you stand there and wait? Like, you've got what you came for. Just take it and leave. But instead you're like, nah, I'm gonna hang about and wait for her first. For some reason. So this, of course, leads to a big Jedi battle. A big lightsaber battle. Again, there's really no excuse for piss poor fighting, fight scenes. When you just look at all the fan-made ones, there's no excuse for just piss poor lightsaber duels. There really isn't. But it's just that, oh, I've got my lightsaber on yours now. It's not really, who cares? There's nothing good about it. It's just really the basic of basic shit. So this is going on. It goes on for a while. Ahsoka's on her way. I'm looking forward to getting to this part. So, yeah, so this is what happened. We're going to go through this in very, very, we'll go for it frame by frame, so you can really get a glimpse at this. So that's what happens, right? So, it's not quite where it should be based on where it is in the front. But that's what happens. So, what do you think happens when you get stabbed with a lightsaber? Anywhere within the body? Well, that's easy. You die. That's what happens. Nobody survives that. Nobody at all. But, she's dead. She's obviously dead, guys. There is no way that in episode 2, within 10 seconds, from what I've heard, that after being stabbed by a lightsaber, that she's going to come back alive after we've seen it so many times. It happened in Obi-Wan Kenobi 3 times. That's definitely not going to happen, guys. No, she's dead like she should be, because that's what happens when you get stabbed with a lightsaber. You just die. We've seen it with Qui-Gon Jinn. He's stabbed roundabout in this area, dead. Dead instantly. It's almost an instant death. So she's now been stabbed with a lightsaber. She gradually falls down to the ground. She lasts quite a while for some reason. I'm like, you were just stabbed with a lightsaber. Your insides are melted away. That should be an instant death. So we see her fall on the ground. And yeah, she's seemingly dead. She should be dead. And that ends us on the first episode of Ahsoka. So a lot of issues. There's plenty of issues to choose from with this first episode. There's some dumb moments. They just, again, I guess they are doing season 5 of Rebels, which again, most people haven't seen. So we don't have the context for a lot of stuff. So you got to work extra hard to make sure people can follow what's going on. To give them context of past events and do it in a natural way, as I've said. That's what your goal should be. But instead it's just been dumped on us and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a quick answer that no, this show hasn't saved Star Wars. Although I've seen people say Star Wars is back, baby, because it's got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently it's back. I can't wait to see the viewership because it's going to be fucking shit. That is very obvious. But that's, at the end of the episode, she's now dead. I've already found out that she's alive. She's alive after being stabbed by a lightsaber. I'm going to save it until I review that episode before we go into how that makes no fucking sense. And it's really a stupid precedent to continue. But I'll rant about that. It will be in the opening of the review anyway. So I'm going to do it then. But so far, again, it's not as dumb as The Mandalorian. It's just not good. I think that's what where I would say it's at. It's just nothing good about it. It's just really, again, it's another. There's a lot of wasted time. It didn't need to be almost an hour episode. There was no call for it based on what we see. It's like, yeah, we get it. You've got good visuals, but you don't need to hang on to them for so long because it's at the end of it, it's not moving anything forward. The same with all the. We're gonna have two characters stare at each other for a very long time, but there's just nothing here. There is nothing here to praise. other than Ray Stevenson, and there's the odd piece of soundtrack that I like. But other than that, there's nothing. There's nothing here that goes, this is going to get the fans back. There's nothing that says that to me. But that's just, that was the expectation going in. I think based on what I've seen this episode, I think it has the signs of, this is going to really fall apart the further we go on. Whether it's in episode 2 or episode 3, I think at some point you're going to be looking at Mandalorian levels of bad. That's just the gut feeling I get based on this episode. There's plenty of issues there. There's nothing there that I can really praise. It's just a load of bollocks, and based off that ending scene, I'm like, you've already fell into bad territory. Just based on that, the fact that you have someone stabbed by a lightsaber and isn't going to die again. So, again, I'll speak more about that in the following episode, which the review will be out for that tomorrow.